So you got the invite to go out. Your friends are holding an event. They want you to come out and have a good time with them. But right away you get the feeling of dread. You're anxious already. It's weeks away. It's days away. You're already anxious. You're dreading it. You know you're going to be in your head. You're not going to have a good time. So do you go? Do you face your fears? Do you force yourself to be with people? Or do you give yourself permission to not go? I'm gonna answer that in this video. Let's go. And if you're already a part of our community, welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Rubin and I'm a transformational coach. This channel is dedicated specifically to reducing your social anxiety, owning your worth, and having that deep belief in yourself so that you can express yourself fearlessly. If that resonates with you, you're in the right place. Welcome home. Okay, so you got the message, you got the phone call. Your buddy, he wants you to come out. He's holding an event. Maybe he had a kid, maybe he's getting married, maybe he's just having a barbecue where everybody's gonna get together and have a good time. He wants you to come out, and right away you get those feelings of dread. Days before, weeks before, you could be in your head dreading the fact that you'll have to go to this social event because you know it's gonna be the same old thing. You're gonna show up, try to put on a friendly smile, but you're gonna be disconnected. You're gonna be in your head. You're not gonna be able to connect with anybody the way you want to. You're gonna be sitting there watching all the confident people interact naturally and effortlessly. You're gonna start comparing yourself to them, and then right away you're gonna be looking for the exits. You're gonna be looking for excuses to leave, and when you do leave, you're gonna be beating up on yourself because you feel like there's something wrong with you. You feel like you're fundamentally flawed in some way. You're gonna feel like, I can't change my personality. I'm gonna be stuck like this forever. I'm gonna feel like I can't live normally like everybody else. I'm on the outside peering in. And because of that, you're already dreading this social event. And so naturally, of course, you're gonna be asking this question. Should I even go to this thing? Is it even healthy for me to be feeling all this dread and putting myself through this torture? Maybe it's actually more caring for myself. Maybe it's actually better for myself and helps my self-esteem to not actually go. And I want you to understand that in order for us to make a transformation, you want to make this transformation from the shy, introverted, non-expressive, anxious personality into a more bold and a fearlessly expressive personality. And in order to make that transformation, the questions that we ask ourselves are extremely important. Our transformation's only going to be as deep as the questions that we ask ourselves. So I want you to ask yourself a more empowering question. Yes, we will address the question, should you go or should you not go? But what's an even more empowering question that uncovers an even deeper truth for you that you can ask yourself? And the question I'm leaning towards for you that I encourage you to ask yourself is, what's putting you in your head and causing you such discomfort around the friends that are inviting you out? What is it? Is it you have resentments towards them because they're always dumping on you? The way they're talking to you and communicating with you and treating you, do you have resentments towards them? Do you feel like they're further ahead in life? And because of that, you feel inferior to them? Is that the reason? Because you feel like you're behind? What is it specifically about this group of friends that when you're in their presence, you can't get out of your head? You can't feel comfortable around them. You can't shake this uneasy feeling that you have around this group of friends. And I want you to ask yourself that deeper question. What is that about? What is it about this friend group that's making me so uncomfortable? Okay, again, because the question you ask yourself is going to dictate, it's going to point you in the direction of whether you actually face your fear or you don't. Because a lot of the time you can think that you're facing your fear by pushing yourself to go into the social situation, but really what that is another way to hide behind a social mask that you're wearing and actually avoid dealing with your actual problems. Because in order to make this transformation, you have to say or do what's most difficult. You have to do what you're most afraid of doing. And I have this student in mind I want to help you understand through his story what I mean by, are you actually facing your fear? Or are you avoiding your fear and using this social situation as another place to hide out and play out this shy, introverted, anxious personality that you're hanging on to and afraid of letting go? So this student in particular, he got this invite. I'm thinking back to this coaching call, and he's thinking he got this text message to go out. Good friend of his from back in the day, his boys group, his friend group, had a baby. Hey, we want you to come out, meet our baby, celebrate with all the guys, and we're gonna get together, have a good time at this barbecue. And so our student, he's asking me, Rubin, should I go? Should I go? Every time I go to these events, these guys are just dumping on me. They're asking me, why aren't you dating anybody? Go approach this girl, go approach that girl. They don't get it that I have this social anxiety thing. They don't get it. They tell me to be more confident. They think there's something wrong with me because my life isn't moving forward like theirs. They went to university. They got the wife. They got the kids. They got the job. They got the careers. Everything's moving forward. So it makes it very easy for them to turn around and just dump on me like I need to do better. It makes me feel like complete shit. I hate going to these different events. I find myself dreading them. When I get there, I'm already looking for the exit and trying to make excuses to leave. Okay, so we start taking a look at this, and he starts asking me, should I stay or should I go? And we start looking at where the disconnect is happening. So remember, what is it about this group of friends that you're hanging out with that's making you really uncomfortable? So it turns out there's feelings of inferiority. Of course, right? They're moving on, their lives are moving forward. At least on the outside, it appears that way. His life doesn't seem to be moving forward. He lives at home with his parents. He's still taking care of his mom. While his friends are out there just moving on and moving forward with their lives and progressing. So there's feelings of inferiority. And so when we take a look at this, we take a look at his upbringing and how he was designated the role to be his mom's caretaker. So he's emotionally responsible for his mom, to take care of his mom, financially responsible. And there came a point, he wasn't always feeling inferior to this group of friends, but there came a point where they had the opportunity to go to university and he didn't. Why? Because he was financially and emotionally responsible for his mom. So his friends got to move on. They got to experience the whole university thing. They got to meet the girls. They got to experience that whole life. And he never got to experience it. And then once again, university, that gives them a whole higher level of status. Then they get to interact with a lot of women from university. They get into relationships. They have girlfriends. There's a whole other level of status. And he starts to feel even more inferior. And what's the thing holding him back is his mother wound. The wounding with his mother. The wounding that he's an emotional husband for his mom. So remember what I said. Are you actually facing your fears by going and hanging out here in the friend group? Where you feel like you're hiding behind this mask and you're not really being honest about how you feel inside. You feel inferior. Nobody knows about it. You're just going there to save face. Is that really facing your fear? Because what my student did is he asked on the call, he's like, Rubin, should I go? And I said, my response was, well, what's your intention of going? He goes, I don't know. I just want to, save face. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. I've always been a loyal guy. That's my values, okay? So then I asked him, that sounds like what you've always done. You've always gone. You've always been the caretaker. You're taking care of your friends. You're taking care of your mom, and now you're taking care of your friends. That sounds like the pattern that you're running. So I said, don't go. I suggested it. I didn't say just don't go, but I said, what feels real for you? And I said, maybe you shouldn't go. And I remember he looks up at me and he's shocked and he's like, "Wow, I thought you were gonna force me to go." And I started laughing. Because he was coming off of these programs where he's working with pickup artists, and they're all about exposure. Get yourself out there in the field, and scream and do these things and face your fears. But again, I could tell what's most difficult. Remember, I said to make the transformation, you have to say or do what's most difficult. What's more difficult? Is it going and doing the same thing you've always been doing? Being the caretaking bottom feeder of this group? It's what you've always been doing. Is that really that difficult? Or is it more difficult to work on your mother wound? To work on your mother wound and have one of the most difficult conversations he's ever had to have with his mom. What's more difficult? Because that weekend he didn't go. He gave himself permission to not go to the barbecue. And he said, "You know what? I'm going to do more of this internal work. And then I got to have a conversation with my mom about my needs going forward. I cannot sacrifice myself moving forward." And then what happens? When he starts working on this, he creates a whole lot of space. He heals this. He has a difficult conversation. And what that does is it opens up more space in his life to go after the thing that he actually wants, which is a relationship. Because the next week he reported back, he says, "I just out of the blue, I just approached this really attractive girl. She's with her parents at the gym. I just walked up and started talking to her. We all started talking to each other, and we all had this connection. We all just had a good time there for a little bit at the gym." Completely mind blown, because he was sharing that I couldn't even make eye contact a few weeks ago. How is this possible? Well, it's possible because he did what was most difficult, and he said what was most difficult through that conversation. And by healing the most impactful relationship that you can have with women, which is with your mom, your mother wound. That is one of the deepest wounds that we can carry in the world. When you heal this wound and you heal all the shame around this, think of how much that's going to open you up to approaching women, dating, being in a loving and committed with a loving woman, a relationship with a loving woman moving forward. So you see, the way that he was taking action and going to these barbecues and these events, it's the wrong type of action. It's not the type of action that's actually moving his life forward. He took action over here to heal his mother wound, which opened up more space for him to take action and actually start approaching women, which is ultimately going to elevate his status with his friends. Whether he wants to hang out with them moving forward or not, whether it's the right friend group, that's a whole other story. We'll get into that in another video. But look at that. He was able to start approaching women. He was able to start pursuing them, which is ultimately one of the reasons that he has a lower status in that group. So you do see what I mean here. Are you saying or doing what's most difficult, or are you just going to these social events in order to repeat this pattern that you've been running because it's the easiest thing to do? If you're telling yourself you're facing your fears, but are you actually facing your fears? And in order to get clarity on that, are you asking yourself to bring it home? Are you asking yourself the right question? So in your case, should you go or should you not go? Let's take a step deeper than that. What is it about this friend group that you're feeling inferior about? What is it? Is it their energy towards you? Is there these certain things that you didn't experience in life that you feel inferior about? Okay, what is that truly about? Because once you raise your consciousness and you expand your awareness on what's truly led to those feelings of resentment, inferiority, what's causing you to compare yourself to so much to these friends, what's making you feel left behind. Once you have more awareness on that, You can take action accordingly to fill these deficiencies like we were talking about with our student. And in this case, he asked himself the deeper question so that the superficial question, do I go or do I not, that was answered automatically through this work he was doing. The answer was no. For you, I want you to introspect. I want you to take a deeper look at these things so that question, the answer for it, it just comes to you like that as a result of doing the deeper work on yourself. Okay, and if you need the same type of support, like with our student, he was trying to go to these barbecues and he was asking the wrong questions. We had to help him see where the wounding was coming from, where the inferiority was coming from, where the feeling of left behind was coming from, what was the deeper cause. If you need support with that, I invite you to take our free masterclass. I'm going to link it below the video. Make sure you take that masterclass so I can walk you through how to let go of that introverted, that shy, anxious personality that you're hiding behind, how to put it down for good. Put that mask down, and how to step into this bold and fearless expression that you really want. Like our student, when he went to the gym the following week and he was approaching women. Do you want that fearless expression? Take that masterclass. If you do, I highly recommend that you change your life today. And here's another video you could check out next where I go into the underlying dynamics within these friend groups. So if you feel like you don't quite fit into the friend group and you're kind of out here floating around and it's kind of lonely and I can't make these other friends, so sometimes I go back here but it doesn't feel right, I'm not finding my tribe, check out that video next. It's going to be super helpful for you. And if you're still with me till the end, thank you so much for watching. If you found the video helpful, please like and subscribe. Keep it real out there, and I will see you soon.